My friends, gather round and let me tell you a story. It is a tale of darkness and light, of evil and good, and the power of determination to overcome even the greatest challenges. Long ago, in a small village deep in the heart of Nigeria, there lived a young boy named Chidi. Chidi's parents had passed away when he was just a baby, leaving him an orphan in the care of his elderly grandmother. Despite the hardship of his circumstances, Chidi was a kind and curious child, always eager to learn and help others. From a young age, Chidi's grandmother instilled in him the importance of kindness, honesty, and hard work. She would tell him stories of their ancestors, of the great kings and warriors who had come before, and Chidi would listen with rapt attention, dreaming of one day becoming a leader himself. But alas, Chidi's idyllic childhood was not to last. There were those in the village who were jealous of the love and respect Chidi's grandmother commanded. They were envious of her wisdom and the way the villagers would flock to her for advice and healing. And so, these wicked individuals hatched a plan to rid themselves of the old woman and her grandson. One day, as Chidi was out gathering firewood in the nearby forest, a group of men ambushed him. Before the poor boy could even react, they had tied him up and dragged him deeper into the trees, to a place known as the Evil Forest. The Evil Forest was no ordinary place. It was said to be haunted by dark spirits and creatures of the night, a place where no one dared to venture. And that was where Chidi's captors left him, bound and helpless, to die a slow and agonizing death. As the sun began to set and the shadows crept in, Chidi's heart raced with fear. He struggled against his bonds, tears streaming down his face as he called out for help, but no one came. The darkness seemed to close in around him, and the sounds of the forest grew ever more menacing. Just when all hope seemed lost, Chidi heard the faint sound of footsteps approaching. He strained to see through the gloom and was surprised to find an old blind man making his way towards him. "Who's there?" the man called out, his voice raspy but kind. Please, help me," Chidi cried out, his voice quivering. "I've been left here to die." The old man hurried to Chidi's side, with surprising strength untied him. "Fear not, child," the old man said. "I will not leave you to this fate." Once Chidi was free, the old man led him back to his humble abode, deep within the heart of the forest. It was a simple dwelling, and made of woven branches and leaves, but it was warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the darkness that had surrounded Chidi. "What is your name, child?" the old man asked. "I am Chidi," the boy replied, still shaken by his ordeal. "Well, Chidi, I am Aemica. I am a healer and herbalist. I live alone in this forest, and I can sense that you are in great need of my help." Aemica went on to explain that he had been blind since birth, but that his other senses were heightened, allowing him to navigate the forest with ease. He had heard Chidi's cries for help and knew he must intervene. Over the following days and weeks, Aemica taught Chidi the ways of the forest. He showed him how to forage for food, how to identify and use the various medicinal plants that grew in abundance, and how to track and evade the dangerous creatures that roamed the darkness. At first, Chidi was terrified, certain that he would never be able to survive in such a hostile environment. But Aemica's patience and guidance slowly began to install in him a sense of confidence and resilience. "You have a good heart, Chidi," the old man would often say, "and with that, you can overcome any obstacle that stands in your path." As the months passed, Chidi's skills grew, and he began to feel more at home in the forest. He and Aemica would spend their days gathering herbs and roots, preparing remedies and potions that they would then sell to the few brave souls who dared to venture into the forest. It was during one of these forays that Chidi stumbled upon a startling discovery. While searching for a rare plant, he came across a hidden cave, its entrance concealed by a tangle of vines and brush. Curiosity getting the better of him, Chidi cautiously made his way inside, his heart pounding in his chest. What he found within the cave would change the course of his life forever. For there, nestled among a pile of ancient scrolls and tomes, lay a magnificent sword, its blade shimmering in the dim light. Chidi knew immediately that this was no ordinary weapon. It was a relic of great power and significance. Carefully, he lifted the sword, marveling at its weight and balance. As he did so, a strange sensation overcame him, a feeling of connection and purpose that he had never experienced before. When Chidi returned to Aemica's hut and told the old man of his discovery, Aemica's unseeing eyes widened with a mixture of surprise and reverence. "This is no mere sword, my child," Aemica said, his voice hushed. "This is the sword of the ancients, a weapon of great power and destiny. It is said that only the rightful ruler of these lands can wield it." Chidi's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Could it be true? Could he, a simple orphan boy, be destined for such a noble purpose? Aemica went on to explain that the sword of the ancients had been lost for generations, hidden away in the depths of the evil forest by a previous king who had feared its power, and now it had chosen Chidi as its wielder. From that day on, Chidi's life took an unexpected turn. Under Aemica's tutelage, he began to hone his skills with the sword, training tirelessly to master its secret and unlock its true potential. And as he grew stronger and more confident, he began to sense a newfound purpose within himself, a desire to use his power to help others, to right the wrongs that had been done to him and his beloved grandmother. Meanwhile, back in the village, the wicked men who had orchestrated Chidi's demise had grown complacent, believing that the boy had met his end in the evil forest. They had assumed that with Chidi and his grandmother out of the way, they would be free to rule the village as they liked, exploiting the people and hoarding the wealth for themselves. But little did they know, a storm was brewing in the heart of the forest, a storm that would one day sweep them away. One day, a distraught villager arrived at Aemica's hut, his eyes wild with terror. "Please, you must help us," the man cried. "Our village has been outrun by a band of ruthless bandits, and they have taken our children hostage." Without hesitation, Chidi grabbed the sword of ancients and set out with the villager, determined to put an end to the bandits' reign of terror. What followed was a fierce and bloody battle, with Chidi wielding the ancient sword with a skill and grace that defiled his young age. He fought with a fierceness born of righteous fury, and one by one the bandits fell before him, and Chidi emerged victorious. The hostages returned to their grateful families. The villagers, awestruck by his bravery and prowess, began to whisper of a prophecy that spoke of a rightful heir to the throne, a ruler who would bring peace and prosperity to the land. It wasn't long before the news of Chidi's exploits reached the ears of the current ruler, a tyrant who had long since abandoned his duty to the people. Threatened by the prospect of losing his hold on the kingdom, the ruler sent his most formidable warriors to capture the young hero and silence him forever. But Chidi, with the guidance of the wise and trusted Aemica, was ready. He led the warriors on a treacherous chase through the depths of the evil forest. In the end, the tyrant's men were forced to retreat and were defeated. The people began to rally behind Chidi, pledging their loyalty and support. It was then that Aemica, the old and faithful herbalist, revealed to Chidi the full extent of his destiny. "My child," he said, his voice heavy with emotion, "the time had come for you to claim your rightful place as the king of these land." Chidi was stunned. His mind was racing with 1,000 thoughts and emotions. With Aemica's guidance and the support of the villagers, Chidi set out to confront the tyrant and reclaim the throne. The battle was fierce and brutal, but Chidi was unstoppable. In the end, the tyrant was overthrown, and Chidi was crowned the new king, his reign marked by a renewed sense of justice, prosperity, and peace. The wise and faithful herbalist who had taken Chidi under his wing all those years remained by Chidi's side, serving as his trusted advisor and confidant, guiding the young king with his wisdom and experience. Together, Chidi and Aemica worked tirelessly to undo the damage that had been done during the tyrant's reign. They rebuilt the villages, restored the land, and established a system of laws that protected the rights and well-being of all the people. My friends, there you have it, the tale of the boy who was left to die in the evil forest, only to be rescued and raised by a kind-hearted herbalist. The lesson to be learned from this story, you ask? It is simply this: that no matter dark the circumstances, no matter how daunting the challenge, there is always a glimmer of hope, a path forward, if one is willing to brave the unknown and fight for what is right. For in the end, it is not the darkness that defines us, but the light that we choose to carry within. I believe you enjoyed the story. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring stories. Goodbye.